So, welcome to our podcast episode. It's a special for Remembrance Sunday, and I am here with my mother-in-law, the original Navy wife. How long have you been married to Phil?
47 years.
47 years. Phil served in the 80s.
In 1982 he went in, yeah.
In 1982 in the Royal Navy, and so Carol has come today to chat with us about her experience of being a Navy wife back in the day, and also through one of the most horrendous wars of our time, the Falklands War.
I was married to my husband married to my husband 47 years, but he joined up in 81, sorry.
81. So how long had you been married then?
We've been married 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Did you have any kids then?
Yes, I had Christopher.
And how old was Chris?
He was 18 months.
18 months?
Yeah.
Did you know Phil wanted to be in the Navy?
He worked at a place called Holman's in Camborne, and it got made redundant, and he didn't know what to do. And both his brothers were in the forces. One was in the Navy. He decided to join up.
Okay.
He joined up for 24. He was 24 years old, so he was one of the older ones really joining, because normally it's like 16, 17 when they join up, but he was 24. So
how did you feel at the time then? Because you didn't marry a sailor.
No.
So
I looked forward to it in the beginning, because I didn't realise what it was all about as such. I knew he might have a ship and go away, but I didn't really think about that. I just thought, this is a new chance, new life somewhere else, somewhere different, and make new friends and see how it goes, But yeah, so he joined up and he went to Portsmouth, and then I joined him after 6 weeks, and we lived in Portsmouth for 6 months.
So you moved from Camborne to Portsmouth?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But,
away from everyone, that must have been a bit different.
Yeah, it was in Gosport. I made friends. I had good friends up there, actually. But there wasn't really anywhere to go up there. They had a naffy up there where you could buy things and stuff, and you could catch a bus into Portsmouth. But being pregnant, there wasn't any. There was wives around that got children, but nobody there pregnant the same as me. Anyway, so later on, we had to go to Plymouth. So we lived in Plymouth for 3 years. And then my daughter was born, and he went in. The Falklands War started then when did it start? April 82 it started.
So you had 2 young babies, basically, a toddler and a baby.
Yeah, Christopher was 2.5 and a baby. And he went in, she was 6 weeks old when he went in.
And you'd moved from Camborne to Portsmouth to Plymouth.
Yeah.
With 2 babies, and now Phil's going off to the Falklands.
Yes, and he's going off to the Falklands. That was a difficult time, as I didn't want to go home really, because nobody had a phone. There weren't mobiles and tablets, iPads and things like that. And I had a phone in the house. So family came to stay with me. So I was lucky, because my family lived an hour away. So I was very lucky that way. Yes, I met friends, and 2 or 3 of them were saying their husbands went to war. We put our oldest ones in the nursery. The only contact we had from them was telegrams. They weren't allowed to ring home. But it was either the captain's wife or the first officer's wife would ring a wife or a mother, and that person would ring, say, 10 wives or mothers to let them know how they were on the ship. At least we had some sort of communication.
So it filtered through.
Yeah.
So you'd have the senior ranking officer. His wife had communication with the ship.
Yeah.
So she would communicate with the ship, get the information, and then filter it through to the other wives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And could you ask her questions, or could you pass messages through her?
No, she would tell one wife or one mother, and they would pass on.
But you couldn't go back and say, get her to ask this or anything.
Nothing at all. And I was lucky, because my husband came home. He flew home. So he was home for a week, and then the ship came in. When the war had finished, the ship had come home.
Wait a sec, because I want to go back a little
bit.
I want some details. Had Phil gone away before he went to the Falklands? Had he done a sea draft before?
That was the first time.
That was the first time.
Yeah.
So you'd never experienced him
No.
going away. So Portsmouth and Plymouth, it was like going to work, coming home.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And that was your first time. How long was he gone?
I think it was 4 months.
Wow. With 2 young kids. What ship was he on?
He was on HMS Alacrity.
HMS. And how did you feel, like, when you knew there was a war coming or starting and they were sending him off?
Upset and a little angry, actually, because obviously we both were, because obviously you didn't know that this was going to happen. Nobody knew that this Falklands War was going to happen.
Yeah.
But because I had Navy wives on the estate and Army wives on the estate who were gone to this war, we had each other. So we did have that. If you had normally gone away, yes, it would be the children are young and you've just got to get on with it. But because it was a war and because they couldn't tell you anything, wouldn't tell you anything, that's the only contact you had.
Could you send letters or blueies or anything?
No.
So there was nothing?
No.
No communication for
No.
4 months?
No. Only the telegrams.
So you could send telegrams to the ship?
I had 3.
Okay.
3 telegrams the whole time he was out there.
So he sent them to you, but you couldn't send them back. So Phil didn't know anything what was going on at home at all?
No, because he knew I would be safe. He knew I would have family around me.
But he didn't know if the kids were ill, or you would have had parents. He didn't know if any of them got ill or had a fall, and no communication with home at all.
No, because if he did, he can't do nothing. He's at war.
He's focused on the war.
Yeah. And why upset him about anything like that?
No, you're right.
He's got more to think about.
Yeah, he needs to be able to focus on his job.
Yeah, and he's got other men that are out there in the same boat, with the children at home, and they don't know anything either.
Yeah.
It was what it was, you know? I mean, his brother was in the Navy as well, and he was so upset to think that he'd been in the Navy lots of years, no war or anything, and yet his brother just joined up and had to go to war.
Yeah.
That was a bit upsetting for him. He did cry. He did get upset about that, because he said, it should be me. I'm the older brother. It shouldn't be you. But it was what it was.
Yeah.
You just got on with it, really.
Yeah. So no communication apart from the telegrams and the wife, the other naval wife filtering down.
And they had, that was frequent.
Yeah.
That was frequent.
Okay.
So
and then you see something on the news, is that right?
Yeah. One of the ships had fallen, and which began with A. They didn't tell you which one at the time, because whether the families knew of the people, the men on that ship, they wouldn't be allowed to tell you what that was until the families knew.
Okay.
Obviously, a lot of men died. Yeah, but because I'd seen that, and a lot of us had seen that with our men on the Alacrity, nobody knew. We knew it began with A, but we didn't know which one it was. Wow. There were 4 of them out there until eventually on the news they were allowed to say, because the families were told then which ship it was.
So you were told a ship had gone down, a Type 21 that began with, and Phil's on a Type 21 that begins with A, and you just have to sit there and wait.
On the news it was.
For the news.
Yeah.
Or the dreaded knock on the door.
Yeah. But then, they did say on the news about it, but also, like I said, the captain's wife or the first officer's wife, it filtered through again. Alacrity is fine.
Right.
So we have.
So you've got that information.
We got that information in the end.
How long did you have to wait to get that? How long did you not know?
I don't know. It could have been a day or 2. I'm not sure.
I thought you were going to say a couple of hours, a day or 2.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one.
Wow.
Day or 2. Yeah.
Of not knowing.
No. So that's when, luckily, like I said, my family only lived an hour away, so they came up to stay, and different ones up staying with me, different times of those months. And I can't remember who came over. It might have been my mum, because my mum only lived near Salt Ash at the time.
Yeah.
And she came over as well. It might have been her that was there. So at least I had somebody, you know?
Wow.
And the families just got together. There wasn't really a community centre that we wives could go and sit, have a chat and a coffee.
Yeah.
But there was a chaplain. You could go to a chaplain if you wanted to. You had a number to ring. And that was about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then 4 months of that.
Yeah.
And then Phil comes home.
And he comes home.
What was the homecoming like?
Oh, yeah, it was lovely. Well, I went to meet him at Rides Norton. I didn't recognise him because he grew a beard.
Okay.
Yeah, he grew a beard, so I didn't recognise him at all. In fact, I walked past him. That's true, I walked past him. Anyway, he came home, and then he had a week with us, which was lovely, just the 4 of us. And then he had written the ship community. He had to go and do his duty on the ship so that those men could come home. Yeah.
Okay, so that
was good.
Yeah, amazing. And then how long did he serve in the Navy after that?
I think Phil did 6 years altogether.
6 years.
Yeah.
Did he go away to sea after the Falklands?
Yeah, he went to the Gulf. Now I'm not sure on that, and neither is he. I did ask him, but we can't remember. But he went to the Gulf for 3 months.
Okay.
He came home for 2 weeks, and he went again for 4.
Okay. So it's a lot of sea time, isn't it, in a
That
short
was in that
space?
year, yeah. In that the following year, this was, yeah.
Yeah, after the
Next year
war.
straight, yeah. And then when you're at sea, when the ships are at sea, obviously no iPads, no mobiles. This particular time there was a cruise ship there, so they link to the cruise ship. The men go abroad to the cruise ship, so many at a time, and they queue up and they ring home.
Oh, okay.
Or if the ship is near a port,
That's
they will go
nice.
into port
Yeah.
and they will go in and find somewhere where they can ring home. You couldn't ring home from the ship itself.
Okay.
Yes, there was more phone calls, but only if they was at port.
Yeah.
The first time he went away for that 3 months, there was a cruise ship, so I heard from him once.
Yeah.
Then, in that 3 months, and then he came home for 2 weeks and went again for 4 months. I can't remember where he went, to be honest. He thinks it was back to Falklands again because he did the Falklands 3 times. See,
3 times.
3 times he went down there.
Wow.
Obviously, the war had finished.
Yeah.
But he still had to go down
A
there.
lot of maintenance to do, presents and stuff.
Yeah, there was lots of things they had to do down there. He went then, and then the last 18 months he was in, he went down there again. That was his last where he had to go.
Oh, I bet you were bloody glad when he got out.
Yeah. I think, to be fair though, he was the one that he suggested it because bear in mind, Christopher was 18 months old when he went in.
Yeah.
Well, he never seen any of Michelle growing up in her first 5 years.
Yeah.
He didn't see that really. He missed all those little things, the first talking, the first walking, things like that there, where he did with the first one.
Yeah.
And so he missed all that. And then he thought, I can't do what my brother did. I can't do 22 years. I can't do it. And I also think the war did it as well, to be honest. I think the war did do it. It did frighten him, I think. It frightened all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But for him to stay on a few more years was good. And then obviously the last 18 months, we moved back home because we both come from Camborne, bought a house. And it was better then because he just did his 18 months. I think he did about 3 months in the Falklands, and then he just had to go to and fro to Plymouth to finish off.
Yeah, and then he was home.
Yeah.
What do you think now about like how we have so much communication with our partners when they're away?
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant, isn't it?
I think on the one hand it is brilliant, but I think on the other hand it can cause trouble as well. Like when you said about that you didn't want to be bothering Phil with any problems at home and things. I don't know. I know when Chris was away, those things that I don't choose to tell him because then you don't want to bother them, do you? But there is so much communication.
Yeah.
And also you worry about them. I know there's so many partners and they're so worried about their husbands that are away because they have so much communication and the husbands are telling them it's hard work, I'm down and stuff, and that's hard and there's nothing you can do. You can't help them.
No. And what's the point in telling them your child is poorly?
Yeah.
As long as he's not in hospital, why give them that worry?
Yeah. That's it.
They got enough to think about when they're away. But you get the wife get lonely as well. You know? It's like the evenings, I think, is worse.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because the daytime you're with your children and your friends, you're having coffee, you're chatting, the children are playing. In the evenings, just you're on your own. You know, you're reading a book, you're watching the television, you've got nobody else to talk to really.
Exactly.
But now there is FaceTime. You can FaceTime your family.
Yeah.
You haven't got to be that lonely, I think, now.
Yeah, there is a lot of loneliness out there still, and particularly now what I notice, it's more loneliness around the partners that don't have kids.
Yeah.
Because they're excluded from the mother and toddler groups and things like that. Every event that goes on is focused on kids. So I know that does go on, a lot of loneliness there, which is sad really, isn't it? It's a shame.
Yeah. We did have a lot of, the Navy were good. I can't say no whether they were good. If you had something wrong with your house, they would send somebody out to make sure that your house was fine.
What was the maintenance like back then? Because military housing now is awful. It's damp. The repair work is shoddy. It's awful. Was it better? Did you get a better service?
I love that house that we were in.
Yeah.
We were in a place called Loosely, which was outside of Plymouth.
That's lovely. That's just by Derriford, isn't it?
And they
really
were
nice.
Lovely. And if your electric went, your gas, something wrong with your gas, somebody was out right away fixing that.
Yeah, I see now in the groups now, people are like, our boiler's broke and no one can come out for 3 days and they're just left with no hot water for 3 days.
All this time has gone on. That doesn't make sense to me.
Mm.
There's more out there now. There should be more out there now. More people to contact. You know, especially there's probably, if you was down, really down, run down.
Yeah.
You could ring probably somebody up now who would come out and see you.
Yeah.
Whereas, yes, I had a doctor, and yes, there was a phone number for a chaplain if I needed it, Navy chaplain. I didn't really want that. But yes, I could speak to the doctor. And one particular time I did, because I just had a Michelle, and he had to go away to war when she was 6 weeks old. I was really not rock bottom, but I wasn't far off. I was pretty down then. And with a toddler running around as well.
And he
yeah.
wasn't the best behaved toddler, was he?
Do we have to bring that up? Yes. And I think mainly he misses daddy.
Yeah.
No, he misses daddy. And then you just got me there. And my attention is more on a baby.
But that's a common thing as well, isn't it? Behaviour challenges.
Yeah.
We've had it with Theo, not coping with the coming and going and the constant moves.
Yeah.
So Chris was a baby or a toddler when you moved from Camborne to Portsmouth to Plymouth.
Yeah.
His dad going away, Michelle being born, and that's a lot of change for him in his little first years of life, isn't it?
So I was lucky because I had to go to the doctors because, as I say, I was really run down. And he wrote a letter to the nursery and got him in early.
Okay.
For me, so at least 2 mornings a week.
And did that help you?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I could go home, put Michelle to sleep, and then either just relax and don't think about him being naughty or him crying all the time or that sort of thing. Just be myself for a while.
Some time to yourself for a minute.
Yeah, so that was a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he did come home, Phil didn't see any of that because he was always good. You know what I mean? And I think it's because, and not only that, why tell your husband that if your child is being naughty, he doesn't want to come home to that.
No.
He wants to come home and cuddle them.
Yeah, that's it.
Kiss and cuddle them. If they're naughty while he's home, then he's there to sort that out. But if they don't have to know that. They don't have to know that. And it was sorted. Everything was sorted.
Yeah.
And then after that, when he went away, I just packed up and went home.
Yeah.
I could go home every weekend if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Most of the time I did. Because I had family. I had my dad that I could stay with. He was living on his own. I could stay with my dad.
Because you weren't worried about the phone then, Cleanse.
Yeah.
But after that, when he was just doing normal sailing,
yeah,
you were going home.
I was going home.
As much as you wanted.
Yeah. Either like family would come still stay, but I mainly went home. And he was glad because he knew that I had company. I wasn't on my own. I didn't think about things. But yeah, it was another scary time I was home. And I thought there was somebody walking around, prowling around outside. And I phoned the police. They were there right away. They went around the house and everything. My dustbin was over. They said there was nobody there. They couldn't see anybody or anything. Is there anybody that you could stay with just for tonight? And I said, actually, there is. His brother was home at the time. So I went over there and stayed for the night and came back. And after that, I was fine. But that was scary.
It is
scary.
It's scary being on your own in the house. That's why we got Shadow.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't like being on my own. But we had that awful incident in Plymouth, which was a real incident with someone actually going in our house and helping themselves to things when we weren't there.
Yeah.
How creepy was that? So I don't know if I'm really over that, to be honest. But no one will come near this house now with Shadow.
No, exactly. Not that big part. No, I know.
But people do put in the groups that they don't feel safe. And I always will say, it's not for everybody, but we got a dog. And I feel much safer with her, definitely, in the house.
Yeah, and my neighbours, both of them, I had 2 neighbours either side of me whose husbands were away. One was on the same ship as Phil, and the other one wasn't, but he was on a different ship. Happened to be away. And they had 1 child each, and they were babies. And this is when I was in Plymouth. And they would take in turns and stay with me, or I would go in there and stay with them. We were company for each other.
Yeah.
So that was a good thing as well. Not all the time, but some of the time, Mandy would ring me and say, feeling a bit down tonight. I said, well, come over then. And she would come over and stay. So that was a good thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know how do they manage now if your husband was poorly and you ring in sick and say they can't come in? How does that work?
If Chris is poorly, I wouldn't ring in sick for Chris.
He'd ring him himself.
I don't ever really know if he's taken a sick
Yeah, because one particular time Philip was sick, over once he was poorly and I had to ring the ship and say that he wasn't coming in. And they sent medics out to check to make sure he was telling the truth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was knocking on the door and opened the door and there was 2 went to see Emmy and Robbins and I said, he's in bed. Can we see him? I said, well, yeah. And he went upstairs. When they went, I said, what was that all about? He said, they're just checking, make sure that that you was telling the truth. and I was in bed.
Okay. I think it might be different if Chris was attached to a ship. I don't know, but I wouldn't phone in sick for him. I assuming Phil was really ill
Yeah,
at that
he
time.
was,
Yeah. For you to phone in sick for him. Chris, I think if he was attached to a ship, he would do everything to drag himself down there and be sent home. I think.
He usually literally couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah, so like really sick.
Yeah.
Would I phone a ship for him? I guess I would have to, wouldn't I? I don't know what they would do. It's different at the minute because he's in a desk job.
Yeah.
And it's all flexible working now.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't feel well for a morning, he might be responsive, but he doesn't necessarily have to do any work. No. He might just have to reply to an email if it comes in, but he could do that from his bed in his cabin or whatever.
Yeah.
But would they send someone out if I phoned in sick? I have got no idea. But
no, you never had to do that.
No, I bet they probably would though. Especially if he was attached to a ship.
Yeah,
I think they probably would. Yeah. Was that after the Falklands?
I can't remember. I don't think it was. Yeah, it was after the Falklands.
Because they probably. I wonder if they had a lot of, what do they call it? AWOL.
Yeah.
I reckon after the war they probably had a lot going AWOL through stress and everything, and they were probably just trying to crack down on it, I expect.
Yeah, maybe.
But interesting though that they came out and did that.
Yeah, just open the door and there they were, two of them.
Wow.
Can I speak to Arian Robbins? I said, yeah, he's up in the bed. But yeah, he done, like I said, he done his 6 years. I think it was 6 years that he actually done. And he did his 18 months from Camborne.
Yeah.
Travelling, that was hard really, because travelling to Plymouth, it was only an hour, but you've got to get up really
well, it's
early.
more like an hour and a half, isn't it, when you take into account traffic and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, and to get where he had to go as well. But yeah, funny thing was though, I remember when Christopher joined up, and he said he had a list of stuff he had to take in for his training and everything, and we took him up there, and I said, "You want a steam iron?" "Oh no, not no steam iron. Got me an ordinary iron." I said, "Oh, okay." Anyway, a week later we had a phone call. "Mum, can you get me a steam iron?" They all got steam irons up here. "Can I have a steam iron?" So we had to go up to the gate now, wait for him to come out the gate, and then he came out and we gave him a steam iron.
You're a Navy wife and a Navy mum. Yeah. So Chris, the naughty little boy that we've just been talking about, grew up, my husband, and signed on.
Yeah.
When he was 16?
17.
17.
Yeah, 17. And when he left, the day he left, we were all camping. Loads of families. We'd be down by the beach at Hale. And the mums, because there were about 5 or 6 mums there, and everybody knows everybody. And all the mums were crying. And Christopher was saying, yeah, all right, don't need to cry. And he joined up at 17 and he went from there.
Given Phil's experience of signing up and then going to the Falklands, were you worried?
About Christopher?
Yeah.
Going in?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I was worried, really. I didn't think about, at the time, you don't think there could be any
just
more
a good
wars,
career.
Yeah. And he joined up, and I think it was the best thing he ever did.
Me too.
Yeah. Actually, wouldn't have met you, would he?
So you've been through it all?
Yeah, been through it all. Yeah.
Amazing. And are you still friends with any of the other wives?
Yeah, there's 3 of us. Phil's 2 best friends, Martin and Dave, and obviously Martin's wife, Claire. Yeah, we're still in contact with them. He did have other friends who I met the wives, but we've lost contact through the years. And there was a reunion. Well, there's a Falklands reunion every year. We only went once.
Okay.
And that was because the Alacrity ship, Phil wanted to see all the men that were on there, obviously.
Yeah.
We only went once. We don't go now anymore.
Yeah.
It still goes on, but we don't go.
Best to leave it some things in the past, isn't it?
I don't think we went because it was, well, they all went to war and they want to get together. I think it was because he worked with these men and he got on with these men.
Had a relationship with them. Yeah.
And we just thought, let's have a reunion. It's like a school reunion. You do it once, but you don't really want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So it was that sort of thing. But yeah, we are in contact. One lives in London and one is in Plymouth. And Phil they're his best friends, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And keep in contact with them. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
God, that was really interesting. Okay, so we're done.
I'm Carol Robbins and I was a Navy wife for 6 years.